Hey there, Stargazer. The name is Julian, and I am the commander of this here station, the orbital asteroid station of the Free Spaceholders, the most righteous trade authority of this system. Excuse me, Julian. I am the actual commander of this here station, and the name is Kirko. Good one, Kirko. But it is I, McConvag, who is the actual commander of the Free Spaceholders. Okay, so maybe we haven't decided who gets the position just yet. See, our old commander recently died in an explosion on an enemy space station during our epic righteous crusade against slavery in this star sector. A most honorable death. We should all wish to be so lucky. Wait a damn second, we have a Resurrector Meg Serum. We don't even have to elect a new commander. We can just bring Kefish back to life. Kefish being our old commander. Here goes nothing. Well, that seemed to do the trick. Thank God Almighty, the commander is finally back. Well, what's left of her? You see, she's alive again, which is amazing, but, the warhead that detonated killing her also seems to have shredded all of her limbs. Her nose. She was also shot in the brain. Oh, and, it looks like it shattered her spine. She's definitely been in better situations, that's for sure. She also has resurrection sickness for the next 4 days, not that it really matters as she can't get up anyway. We'll just put a bucket next to her bed in case she needs to puke. Well then, I suppose we're going to need a new commander after all then, aren't we? I suppose an election might be in order? Yes indeed, we believe in democracy around these parts. But I only trust one group of people to go about electing a new commander. You wonderful people. I have put this poll up on the channel, and I humbly await your results. Don't bother voting now, though, because I already got them. Now then, while we await the results, we have a lot of work to do. The Orbital Traders Guild is gone, and we are the new trade guild. We won the war, but how do we become orbital traders exactly? Thankfully, we can get an expert opinion from Vivian, who just so happens to have been a member of the old Traders Guild before we captured and rehabilitated her. More importantly, she has a social skill of 10, which is exactly what we need to be able to set up a trading outpost on the planet's surface. It just makes sense, a trading outpost on the surface, an old orbital trader to help us set it up. I think having them on the surface is going to be much safer than using the space stations that the old traders had, even though we're technically still orbital, I guess. Plus, we also destroyed all those stations. Anywho, though, here is our very first trade outpost. I'm not going to focus too heavily on this episode, but it is definitely something that we are going to slowly begin building up as we become the new trade authority more and more. Vivian will be operating our very first, and every quantrum she is going to be producing 300 silver. That is actually after she takes her cut. Yes, obviously we have to pay our crew members who go out and run these outposts, but with enough of them, we could be making an absolute fortune. Though, truth be told, the future of the Spaceholders, the future of our trade empire, the future of everything here on this planet, for us, and really everyone else, is going to depend on who you fine folks choose to be our next commander. I have the utmost faith in you. No pressure. Since we won the war against the Traders Guild, we're also able to contact the Orbital Traders Hub now to let them know who the new head honcho is around here. Obviously, they were a little bit shocked to see that we had won the war against this Solar Sectors Guild, but they quickly overcame any feelings of hesitation once they realized cutting us off from trade again would now hit their bottom line, like an orbital freight ship. Our very first exotic goods trader. My oh my, it has been ever so long since we've been making plenty of money. They also just so happen to have plenty of luciferium. 83 pieces of luciferium, I might add. In exchange for some of the gold that we had recently acquired, we had plenty of that luciferium, all that they had, as well as a good chunk of change to go along with it. Good news to bad luck here. Our war casket wearing killing machine, who has a crippling addiction to luciferium because he's taking it to try to get rid of his brain damage. It's a whole thing, but we're working on it, not to worry. And this is going to help us out quite a bit with that. But hold your horses, my friends, because the election results are in. Let's see here. Wait a minute, bad luck? Oh shit. Guys, I think we're under new management. Well, just like that, bad luck is the commander now. Probably wouldn't have been my first choice, or second, or third for that matter, but majority rules. And his first order of business? He wants a much larger bedroom for he and his wife, Mick and Vag. Not only one that was much larger, but one that was also much more luxurious as well, with its own bar, entertainment center, as well as his Luciferian stash, of course. Now that we have a nicer, luxurious place to think, we can start planning out the future of the free space holders. First and foremost, we're going back to our roots. Time for some asteroid mining. The entire asteroid. No more of this grab the valuable ore and get the hell out of there shit. First, though, we are going to need some properly equipped and augmented asteroid miners. Before you stand the 4 best miners we have within our crew. Dubman here on the right having the lowest skill of 11, while the other 3 boast a mining skill of 16 and above. Absolutely incredible, but even so, improvements can be made, such as surgically attaching drilling appendages to their spines, including onto my lovely wife. Sorry, sweetie, but everyone has to make sacrifices around here. Now I know what you're thinking. Commander Bad Luck, you're ordering all of these appendages and bionics to be crafted. Surely you must be planning to make new arms and legs for Catfish then, right? Of course I am. Eventually. The thing is, that's a lot of work. And I mean, she is alive already, isn't she? Isn't that good enough for now? Sure, she would have fixed my broken body before taking care of business needs, but that's why she's bedridden and broken, and why I still stand before you today. She was weak, whereas I am not. She'll be fine. We have much more important things to attend to, like putting those drilling appendages on my wife and Julian, as well as all of our other great miners, just before we prep them to be sent off to the next asteroid. It's finally time for us to get ourselves back in tip-top shape. But that's not just going out and mining asteroids. We also took the time to replace lost limbs and organs on our mining crew. See, did Catfish ever get around to doing that? I didn't think so. Too busy fighting righteous wars and whatever. Yes, unlike our previous commander, I actually remembered Dubman's missing leg he gave in service to our faction. Plus, it was interfering with his work and thus interfering with our money. 2 birds, 1 stone. But today we are going to be quite righteous, just as we were under Commander Catfish's rule, because we are going to be making a righteous profit. Yes, indeed. The very first asteroid that we're going to be going to is, of course, made of vaxstone on the outer shell with a nice gooey center of jade. Jade that is no doubt going to sell for a lot of money, and we would waste absolutely no time chipping away. And as you can see here with me from an aerial view, our asteroid miners, in all their wisdom and experience in this field, of course, were cutting right through the asteroid like a hot piece of butter on a summer Sunday sidewalk. In all seriousness, this clip you're seeing right now is not sped up. As we expected and had hoped, our mining speed is absolutely off the charts at this point. It won't take us long before we have the entire asteroid mined and ready to be processed and sold off for a glorious profit. Now, as our crew chip away slowly at this orbital rock, I'd like to point out we packed plenty of food, but eating raw potatoes isn't optimal for our guts, nor for our mental health. Our new commander has rushed us off to this asteroid so quickly it seems we forgot to pack some of the basics, like a proper stove. Not to worry though, as we have the steel and components to build our own. Just because we're on a frozen rock orbiting the planet with the eternal emptiness of space around us, that doesn't mean we can't be comfortable, now does it? Nor does it mean we can't have some good food. For the next couple of days, we chipped and drilled and smashed away at the asteroid, carefully extracting the jade from within, cautiously making sure we got every last ounce of even the most finite dust of the jade we mined. mined. We were of course much less careful with the Vaxstone, not that it mattered, as it's all chunks to be cut into blocks in the end anyhow. I also want to mention that this asteroid is basically completely stripped by this point, and we've only been here for about the last 4 days, give or take, which is less than half a month in-game, little over a quarter of a month's time to be more specific. As they're finishing up the mining process, I wanted to also mention you may have noticed that here above the planet we obviously have 3 separate home zones. You might be asking yourself, what the hell? Why is that? The one to the far left, of course, is our headquarters, and the one center and a bit to the north is also the asteroid we're currently mining. But the one to the south is perhaps the most interesting of all. For this one is the abandoned and/or conquered space station from the old Orbital Traders Guild, who we slaughtered, and whose station we took. Although, as mentioned, at the moment it is abandoned. Even so, the station still holds many valuable items here, so we sent a small 2-man crew to retrieve some of the advanced components, the survival meals, and perhaps most importantly, our other secondary shuttle that we had left here. Now, we needed both of our shuttles to bring resources over to the current mining op. Plus, I wanted to grab the second shuttle before I ended up forgetting, and you guys have to forcefully remind me. Similar to how I built shields on our grav ship, and in my nervousness of the big battle at the HQ, I had completely forgot to turn them on. Oopsie poopsie. Now, between episodes, I had already built a grav anchor here so that we didn't lose the station, although the one slave who we had freed here last episode seems to have left. So I suppose the entire station must be up for grabs. Better us than allowing the Imperials to have a foothold in the sky, eh? I don't know what we would do with this base, but if you guys have any ideas or suggestions what we should use it for, or maybe if we should just scrap it all for parts, be sure to let me know in the comment section down below. And with that, our 2 shuttles have finally arrived at the asteroid that we are currently mining for resources, dropping off plenty of steel and components. The reason that we brought these is because we are going to be building inside the ship a few electric stone cutting tables. Indeed, by this point, the entire asteroid has been strip mined, and we have gotten all the jade from it that we could. The rest of the material here, as mentioned earlier, is simply Vaxstone chunks, which we are going to be cutting into blocks. Probably not every single last chunk, as that would take an ungodly amount of time, but I do plan on trying to cut about 80 to 85% of the chunks into stone blocks. I know, Commander Badluck said earlier the entire asteroid, but listen, I want to move on to other asteroids, and Vaxstone blocks just aren't worth all that much. We're really just cutting these into blocks to get our money's worth as much as we can while keeping our sanity intact, if that makes sense. But as our crew continues to diligently tackle this task, meanwhile, back at our refining base on the planet's surface, we recently got an intel of a nearby mining site by Tox pirates. Not only was this faction slave owners before we abolished the practice, though they may still be breaking the law, I suppose, but they are also interfering with our trading practice. The cherry on top is the fact they're even attempting to mine resources under our noses. Well, that is bad for business. There is a tithe to be paid, whether it be silver or in blood. We're going to be sending down a 3-person squad to deal with this little outfit of illegal mining operators, made up of Azez, Lawrence, and Nerhesi, all 3 of them absolutely armed and armored to the teeth, with some of the best weaponry that the headquarters had to offer. Not that they'll even need them, because they will be riding into battle against this mining operation in our 3 scythemen that we have parked at the refinery, using their rocket salvos to cleanse the land of this unholy operation. And just like that, the 3 of them would begin cruising down the highway towards the Tox pirate outpost. Although it is going to take them a little bit of time to ride through the desert, so in the meantime, our very own mining operation is going to be doing some trading with an orbital bulk goods trader that we had requested, selling off all of the Vaxstone that we have cut into blocks thus far. Selling off the Vaxstone blocks alone would garner us 4,086 silver. We plan to hold off on the jade for the time being. Oh, Commander Badluck is going to be tickled plum pink when we bring all tickle this silver back home to him. He's actually already tickled plum pink because his crippling addiction to luciferium has caused his brain scar to heal. Pretty incredible. It's probably also worth mentioning, not only will he be at full thinking capacity now, but also full fighting capacity. I also want to mention real quick before we arrived at the enemy mining site that we got our first delivery of 300 silver from our trading outpost we set up in the beginning of the video. But without further ado, my friends, our squad of 3 and their scythemen have finally arrived at the Tox Pirate mining site. Ready to kill. Hard to say exactly how long they've been working this site, but if I had to guess, it's been at least a couple of months, because their base here is quite large. Looks like they've also had some issues, you could say, with their shuttles. Not our doing, but I don't mind at all. Hey, wait a minute. That also means they've been taking to the skies, attempting to really cut us out of the deal. Bastards. On the bright side, though, I guess they won't have an easy escape from our wrath, now will they? So we're gonna start aiming our rocket salvos in here, and hopefully we'll be able to kill them all with one fail swoop. That would be ideal. We have to be careful, though. They have resources down here they've yet to mine, but I think the resources are either being kept in here or in here. One of these is probably where they sleep and eat, and the other is where they're storing their resources. And I really don't want to destroy their resources because I'd rather take them for ourselves. But as you can see with the rocket salvos, we're probably going to end up hitting some of those resources, unfortunately, but that's just the name of the game, right? Let's go ahead and fire off our rockets, though. Here we go. Oh, an absolute massive barrage. That wasn't too bad. We killed quite a few of them. We still got about 10 of them alive, if you could call it that. We are going to be able to recharge, I think, though. They're not really coming after us just yet. Or not recharge, we're going to have a cooldown here. This guy's getting ready to take cover right there, I think. Let's see if we can hit him with some rockets. No, but we were close. Let's go ahead and just start hitting right there with more rockets. We are taking some damage. I kind of need to move. Not too shabby, not too shabby. We are going to be taking cover outside of our vehicle, behind our vehicles, and shooting at them with our rifles, but also we're going to be shooting at them with our triple rocket launcher that we got from murdering some of those traitors during the war. We have quite the stockpile back at the HQ, so we might as well use it, of course. I'm gonna see if I can hit these two right here with it. Fire away. Oh, sweet heavens, what happened? Oh, and we have a little coward here wanting to get away. I'm afraid I'm going to have to run you over. I have to insist that you not run. Here we go. Can we hit him? He's much faster than I anticipated. Come back, wait. Wait, alright, we'll run you over. The Scytheman is very slow. This is just not working in our favor, I'm afraid. We might be able to hit these people, though, before they escape, if we're lucky. Let's see if we can get them. Oh, yeah. Lie there got blasted into oblivion. We are looking pretty good, though. One of our scythers, pretty badly damaged and ran out of fuel. The engine, the chem tank. Yeah, the chem tank is severely damaged, so we're running out of fuel. Luckily, though, Azez is completely fine. Go ahead, and we are going to dismount. We're going to see what the hell's going on here. We might take a few prisoners while we're at it. We have this person. Zeef, decent crafting, pretty good intellectual, not good mining, which is a big one for us, but a good shooter. I'm also on the lookout for people with a good social skill, as those people could help us with setting up more trade outposts, which neither Mort nor Chlorisphore have. Chlorisphore, though, has a decent mining skill. That's not too bad. Let's take them prisoner. Assuming they don't die. Azez is a terrible doctor, and yet he's the best that we have with us here. So, they're probably going to die before we could do that. And I guess, yeah, they're the only person that might be worth taking, which is a shame, but okay. I'm gonna start investigating the base, though. Let's see if we can find those resources we were looking for. Oh, I think this is them. We've got just over 300 something jade, 911 silver. We got some steel. 450, and we've got 100 something gold. Pretty good, pretty good. We have their living quarters up here, not really anything to mention. Oh, we have some obsidian right here. That's useful too. Okay, not much going on here. I think we blasted something in here and destroyed it, but we will take these components back with us. Mine this area out, but I don't want to be here for too long because I don't think, yeah, we haven't been detected yet, but at some point we will be detected. I don't want to have to keep fending off small raids and waves of enemies. Filthy Tox pirates. How are we looking, Chloros 4? You have a bionic heart. Ooh. Of course, though, we also get plenty of weapons and even a little bit of paraphernalia, some substances that we can also sell off. We can also use the weapons, of course. We also have some fine meals. Other than that, and our new potential prisoner here, I think that's about it. Yep, looks like that's about it. So we're going to repair our Scytheman. I think we'll go ahead and start doing that, actually. We'll go ahead and start repairing the Scytheman, and once we get this one repaired, we will take some fuel from the others. We should have plenty of, as chem fuel is also what we have to use for the rocket salvos to get them firing, and that way we'll go ahead and load that onto it. We'll get the others to load the chem fuel onto this Scytheman. That way, once it is finally repaired, we can get the hell out of here. Although it's going to take quite some time, I think. There's a lot of damage going on, so but we will get there eventually. Once we get them repaired, though, we're going to head back to the base. We'll take our new prisoner. We'll take everything that we can. We will be golden. In the meantime, as our little adventuring fighting squad is repairing their vehicles and gathering up all those resources, our mining team is also in the final stages of processing this entire asteroid and all the Vaxstone along with it, of course. And just as our attack squad was beginning to make their way back down the road back towards our refining base, Myrtle was also beginning to work on plenty of bionics for Catfish. That way we can truly get our old commander out of the bed and back on her own 2 feet. Not her 2 feet, but some metal bionic 2 feet that will be hers. Personally, I would be more than happy to start on this process right now, but the only good doctor we have who could perform these surgeries at the HQ right now is Catfish herself, and she doesn't have arms or legs. Her spine is shattered. You see what I'm saying. Finally, though, our caravan of Scythemen and attackers had arrived back at the refinery base, dropping off all the weapons and, most importantly, resources that they had acquired from the Tox pirates, which actually included those gibbet cages that we had saw earlier. Funny enough, these were actually made of obsidian, and obsidian, of course, is worth a lot of money, so we were going to deconstruct those. After doing so, we would ship all of the resources back up to the HQ, including, but not limited to, some Luciferium for the commander himself, as well as a very unique item, a piece of Pico machinery. Now, if you said, what the hell is Pico machinery? Well, you are not alone, because I personally had no idea myself. To be honest with you, I don't even know where we got this from. Apparently, though, the Orbital Trade Hub's experts say it's used in Arco technology, as the cluster features extremely small and advanced machinery that individually is 1/5 the size of a hydrogen atom. So basically, it's much more advanced than anything we have or have ever even seen. Perhaps with enough of these, though, we could make something pretty incredible for ourselves, so we're going to keep it instead of selling it for the time being. And for the sake of safekeeping, the commander himself has had a special shelf built in his bedroom where he can keep a good eye on it 24/7. Speaking of which, the commander and the rest of our crew would welcome home not only our mining crew, but also the 2 additional crew members that we sent out in the shuttles. Everyone finally home once more. The ship's cargo was loaded to the brim with 9,760 Vaxstone blocks, which isn't even counting the ones that we had already cut and sold many days prior to this landing. Within the ship, we also have 2,504 jade, but it must be noted that most of this jade was already aboard the ship. We still need to sell it all, of course. However, I think from the asteroid, we only got around about 500 to 600 pieces of jade. Still pretty incredible, though. Now comes the most difficult part of attempting to remove it all, as well as many other items that should not be within the ship before we go on our next adventure to mine more asteroids. We're going to be bringing all of this in, of course, to the warehouse on the opposite side of the HQ, which obviously took an incredibly long amount of time, and then I realized that most of the vaxstone didn't need to be taken out of the ship because we could just sell it with the beacons we have aboard the ship, which we would do, along with some gold, because for whatever reason, this specific trade ship was not willing to buy jade. Even so, this would still fetch us a great price of 6,923 silver. Doesn't seem like much? Well, that's because that's all they had, and the majority of what they bought from us was indeed vaxstone. Indeed, I think our war, although it was for ending slavery, was also well worth it just for the fact of getting to be the new trade authority of this planet, as we are making an absolute fortune. Filthy rich. And I do mean that so much, in fact, that something really we should have done a long time ago, but we are going to begin working on something of a bank here in the HQ. More so of a treasury, just a place to keep it all safe and sound. As you can see, we're actually building some armored steel doors and steel walls all around the inner lining of this treasury, just so we can ensure no matter what happens, whether they hit us with more anti-grain warheads here at the HQ this time around or anything, that our money will be safe. But we've been worrying so much about mining asteroids and taking care of our finances that I almost forgot to mention young Anna, who has been with us since she was about 8 or 9 years old, I think, if not younger, has now turned 13. Which also means that we get to give her a few new minor passions, which we gave her in mining, cooking, and construction, with construction and cooking being things she's already pretty decent at, and mining, of course, because, well, we want to turn her into yet another asteroid miner. Best that she starts mining asteroids at a young age so she can get as much experience as humanly possible. We've also decided to attach 2 drilling appendages to her spine, to help her out with that. And believe you me, with a mining skill of absolute 0, she's going to need all the help and all the experience that she can muster to get. With all that being said, let our next mining operation finally begin. The second asteroid that we're going to be mining in this episode has traces of plasteel. Not exactly something that we plan on selling, but a useful resource for us and us alone. The vaxstone, however, of course, that we end up chopping up from this asteroid we will sell, as we did with the last one, of course. Now, as we enjoy a beautiful time-lapse of our workers mining away this entire asteroid in a very short amount of time, I also want to talk about some of these unique items that we got, like the Pico machinery, I believe it was earlier. Well, we also ended up getting Atto machinery, I suppose is how you pronounce it. It looks pretty damn important and pretty damn interstellar cosmic-like, if you ask me. And we actually ended up getting this as a gift from some visitors. I suppose they're trying to impress their new trade authority, of course. This item apparently forms a psychic bond with whoever touches it, allowing the user to use it for any type of fabrication. Its strength is unheard of anywhere else in the universe. Not the solar system, not the planet, not the galaxy, but the universe. I don't know how the hell they decided to give this to us as a gift, but I'll take it. Oh, and would you look at that, the asteroid is finally mined as well, which took us a total of about 5 days. Blame our slowness on Anna the rookie. That's alright though, as we are still making very good time, and we are immediately going to begin the processing of the chunks. Meanwhile, back at HQ, we had finally finished up all the bionics required for the former commander. We've got legs, we've got arms, and we've even got a bionic spine. Alrighty, I suppose we had better start surgery, shouldn't we? It would seem we're gonna have to take out some trash first. A large group of Tox pirates. No doubt they've come to try to take back their resources. Well, I'm afraid you poor dumbasses, we've already sold all the resources we stole from you. And also we're going to murder you, of course. This looks like a job for our current commander. Alright, so I've brought the commander down from orbit, and he is landing at the refiner base. Now, I do want to say, as much as I'd love to see him just decimate them, I do have something special in store for them. As you can see, we still have an anti-grain warhead loaded up into the turret of our shuttle. So, I really like detonating warheads. I want to hit them with one as well, so we're going to do that. Here we go. Swoop. There we go. And I'm actually going to get the commander out just because if this doesn't fully kill them, we will bring him down, of course. I have a feeling the one warhead's going to be plenty enough, but let's find out. And indeed it was. Oh, alright, I'll see you guys later. Bye! Any of you still alive that might be useful? This fellow here, by the name of James, had his left and right leg ripped off in this explosion. Holy shit, though. Are you go juice dependent? So we have plenty of go juice. Holy shit. A 20 in shooting, a 10 in melee, 13 in construction. You are the perfect soldier, I think, for another war casket, maybe. Super Bass here. Shooting of 8. Construction 6, crafting 13, intellectual 9. Not bad. You also lost both your legs and we shattered your jaw. You are also addicted to go juice. Damn. Okay, you know what? I'm going to bring some people down here and we are going to tend to them. Flores 4, you can actually start tending to this fellow here. Bring a Zez, but he's not exactly very good at medical work. He does, however, have a jump pack, which will get him there much faster than Chloris 4. Kinda, maybe. We start doing some jumps. I might be better off just letting him walk, but we'll also go ahead and start getting everything hauled in from down here. I don't know if you guys noticed, we also not only have these people, all their guns and everything we're gonna bring in. We had some of this. I haven't been paying as much attention down here unless we get attacked and stuff and I have to deal with it, but we have plenty of Himogen packs for sanguiphages, but we don't have a sanguiphage still. We've had a shit ton of meteorites fall. And we also had a space battle, so you can see all these chunks on the ground. We have 9 ship chunks. And we also had a shuttle crash, which I didn't pay attention to. These people may have been perfect to join us, but we have a bunch of shit going on down here. And it's honestly just been because I've been so focused on mining asteroids this episode for a mining asteroid mining company. that I haven't really focused on, but we have jade here, we have silver, we have gold, and compacted machinery, which is all already great, so we'll start dealing with that as well. Can you start tending to Super Bass? James is gonna be fine. Super Bass is dead. 1 second, I completely missed it. That was my fault. That's alright though. We are going to go ahead and set up a temporary prison for James, who will hopefully be joining us in a very short period of time. Welcome aboard, James. I suppose all your friends didn't die for nothing. They died so that you could join us. Other than that, though, they did indeed die for nothing, as you can see. Oh, God, I love anti-grain warheads. I guess the commander technically killed all of them. That's a shame. I kind of wanted him to, you know, actually fight, but that's my own fault because I also couldn't help myself and was dying to see the anti-grain warhead. While we're here, let's go ahead and just load up as much chem fuel as we can into the shuttle, and when the commander goes back up, he can take a fuel run and load along with him as well, of course. Alright, so we got James. James is actually a lady. Interesting name choice. We're gonna start recruiting James, and we're also, as soon as we get the chance, going to strip James, because James, I think, has, what kind of armor do you have, James? Marine armor, marine helmet, and a tox pack, along with a mini turret backpack, which we can wear. You know what, you can keep your cowboy hat, though. I'll let you keep that, and yeah, you're welcome. Welcome aboard as soon as we force you to join us pretty soon. That was a very quick battle, but, you know, I'm pretty happy with the results of it, to say the least, of course. Now then, as mentioned, our fearless commander would immediately load up a holy shit ton of fuel for a nice big fuel drop. This will be absolutely perfect once our mining grav ship returns home. It was after our return that Kefish would now begin to undergo several painstaking and tedious hours of complex and delicate surgery to repair what is broken and to replace what is lost. All thanks, of course, to Granzier and her pretty decent medical skill, whereas before Kefish and she would have been opening fire at each other on a battlefield. Today, she is the only one at the station at the moment capable of attaching these bionic limbs. And indeed, after many an hour, the surgeries were successful. Kefish now sporting bionic legs, bionic arms, and even a bionic spine. Obviously, we didn't have a bionic nose yet for her, and her brain damage has yet to be healed either. Perhaps some luciferium, but we'll have to see first. As one might imagine, this was a huge point in Caffey's life. Well, her second life, of course, and as such, and as a result of, she ended up having a growth moment. She's done a lot of self-reflecting and thinking since she's been bedridden. Broken and bedridden for months on end, if not longer, simply to gain a few minor passions for some skills and a new trait that helps with crop harvest yield. Worth it? Maybe not, but I'll take it. At the moment, she is still under anesthetic and won't wake up for about another day or so, which is quite alright because at the moment myself and the crew are working on getting the mining ship back home, as well as getting these 14,641 vac-stone blocks sold. After requesting a bulk goods trade ship from the Orbital Traders Hub, we ended up selling this off for 4,770 silver. I know, not much. It's vac-stone, people, okay? We're keeping the plasteel for ourselves. To be honest, I think they're really doing us a favor by even buying it. Word has it through the Orbital Traders Hub, a lot of the vac-stone blocks that we have been producing and selling are being used for some homes in the inner colonies of the galaxy. That's pretty cool. I don't care as long as we get paid. Ah, well, what have we here? Look who's finally awake. Hey there, sleepyhead. A lot has changed since you had your little snooze.